Dennis Katz and Michael Macione. Welcome to the Tick Bootcamp podcast.
Thank you.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
to be here.
So folks, we're here at the ILADS Conference, which is the largest Lyme disease conference in the world and the most successful Lyme disease conference in the world, and you two have been invited to participate in their podcast. So talk to us about what kinds of things your company, well, first of all, tell us about your company, the name of your company and what it does, and then talk to us about how your company can help folks in the Lyme disease community.
Sure. We're a dietary supplement company, and we're longtime members of ILADS, been coming for 15 years. And a story about how our company started, it was started because of Lyme disease. We were at a conference probably 12, 13 years ago in Canada, and we were listening to a doctor speak about a plant called Mimosa pudica and how he was giving it to his patients to help them with intestinal parasites, which is a co-infection of Lyme disease. And so we're listening, and he's saying, I'm buying this stuff, and I'm spooning it into a baggie and handing it to my patients. And so a light bulb sort of went off and said, oh, what if we could standardize this? And because your spoon is not the same size as my spoon, and how do you know what dose anyone's getting, and how could you track, how effective it is based on all those different measurements? So we came back, we standardized it, and then we just started speaking to people and letting them know that this was available. And at the time, as a compounding pharmacy, we were compounding this in our lab, and it was available only by prescription. And so, we started selling quite a bit of it, and then we were at another conference, and the same thing happened with one of our other products, liposomal artemisinin. And the same thing happened with that. We came back to the lab, we standardized it, and started compounding, letting people know we had it, and it took a life on. And next thing you know, we just couldn't keep up with it anymore. And so we had to start thinking about forming a company to be able to manufacture this and be able to help a lot of people wherever they were in the country and in the world. And so that's a short story of how Dr. Inspired was born.
All right, so Dennis, talk to us about your role in this process and how exciting it was for you to bring some standardized, non-prescription tools to people in the Lyme disease community.
Well, I'll start with the Mimosa pudica, which is the first thing we did. I remember having to try and source the product, and we would get in. We would ask every company to send us a sample. And we must have gotten 10, 15 different powders in, and some of them were just, I'm not even sure what they were. So
not even the product.
Not even the product. I mean, I think we found metal shavings in it and things like that. It was awful. So we had to start expecting a certificate of analysis to make sure and how potent was the stuff. So none of this was necessary in the beginning, and somebody just getting in a baggie, like Michael said, how do you know what's standard?
Right.
So it became a business. It became a very time-consuming business.
And it's wonderful that it did become a business for you, because you can't expect sick people to source what they need for their care and ultimately make sure that they are dividing it up properly, I guess is the way of describing it, so that they can have proper dosage, right? I mean, you just can't expect that from sick people.
No, you can't.
And I think what the point I want to drive home is quality. Getting a quality product is not as simple. It's not a simple process. There's lots of people out there trying to sell you stuff that just isn't quality.
Yeah, and it's terrible when we have sick people who are in need of quality products, and you essentially have snake oil salesmen out there selling them stuff that they think are going to make them better, and in fact, it's not going to have any impact at all. So Michael, talk to us about some of the other products that Doctors Inspired Formulations has come up with, and how you are offering opportunities or technologies to people in the Lyme community to improve different elements of their healing journey.
So, in the early days, we didn't have any customers, and as time went on, we started developing relationships in the Lyme community, coming to ILADS, listening to what people wanted, and trying to work with different ideas and develop products to meet the needs of people that were suffering from biofilm, parasites, Lyme persisters, and so on. And so we started to expand our line, as the name says, doctor-inspired formulations. I mean, doctors were asking us to do these things. And so eventually the line grew into 8 products. We started selling across the United States, and now in Canada, the EU, and the UK, we sell to some high-level Lyme doctors, if you will, in the United States. I mean, and I'm allowed to say this because I asked permission. Dr. Horowitz is a customer of ours. He believes in our cinnamon, clove, and oregano product. It's in one of his studies that is published. You can find it in PubMed. I was told by him that it's going to be in his next study, and it's helped a lot of people. And anecdotally, we've had hundreds and hundreds of people come to us at all these conferences to just say how helpful our product's been, how it's taken them off the edge, how much better they feel. Thank you so much to us. And we're just proud to be a part of that. And we're slow to add new products because we want to do the investigation and the work to make sure that this is actually a viable product and will help people. That's our main goal.
Yeah, so Dennis, I think it's really cool that you guys are coming to conferences, you're listening to presentations, you're seeing a gap between what is needed and what is available, and you're filling that gap so that patients can get the tools that they need from a reputable source and at an affordable price. So talk about how you've been inspired by the request of doctors who are specializing in the research and the clinical care for Lyme patients.
Well, a lot of times, like you had it exactly right. We do, in fact, go into the conferences, we listen, we hear what's needed. We actually had doctors say, if anybody's out there listening, this is what we need, and we're there, and it's been a great opportunity. As far as some of the things that we were hearing was that people were not getting good absorption. They weren't tolerating the medication. So that's been a major theme right along. So we decided that we would try and find ways to make things more absorbable. So you'll find that most of the products that we produce, not all, but most of the products that we produce are enteric-coated capsules, so that they do not dissolve or release their medication in the stomach. Now, just right there, you're probably increasing the bioavailability of the medication by somewhere between 40 and 60%. The next thing that we do is that we micronize everything that goes into the product.
What does that mean?
It means we make the particle sizes as small as possible, so that it can more readily pass through the semi-permeable membrane of the lining. Then other things that we try and do is incorporate vehicles. So, for example, MCT oil, medium chain triglyceride oils, so that it helps reduce the inflammation that may already exist in the lining, so that it gets absorbed better.
So are these oils carrier oils, or are they oils that are being combined with the medication so that the inflammation is reduced and the medication is more effective?
The answer is both.
Okay.
So it can in fact reduce inflammation or help to reduce inflammation, and it can also help carry the product.
All right. So, Michael, give us some insight into some of the additional products that you come up with. You did give me an outline or an advertisement with the list of products that you're currently carrying. So, why don't you give us an outline of all of the products so that folks in the community are aware of them and they can talk with their practitioners about what's available to them.
Absolutely. So, first, I'll start off by saying you can always go to our website. It's doctor-inspiredformulations.com, and doctor is spelled out. You'll see all our products there. Patients, the general public can buy on the website, and practitioners can also fill out a wholesale account application and get approved to carry that in their office so that they can, at the point of contact with their patient, be able to provide them with these things.
So they can reduce the friction between the patient needing it and the patient receiving it by being a wholesaler.
Absolutely, and a lot of times, as you know, a patient will go off with a prescription or an order from a doctor and they never fill it, and it's not compliant. But the tendency is to be more compliant right after your appointment. So, yes. Very helpful. And there's 8 products in the line.
So let's go through the 8 products and what how are patients in the community using each of the 8 products?
Yep. So I'll just run right through all the products, and then we can talk a little bit about each of them.
Let's do it.
And so this line was developed because of Lyme disease. Not every product in the line has to be for Lyme disease, but they could be used with it. So we'll start off. We have a liposomal curcumin. There's a lot of brands of curcumin out there. It was sort of an add-on for us so that people would have an option to shop. One-stop shop, if you will.
So curcumin is an anti-inflammatory.
It's a great anti-inflammatory. There's a lot of research on curcumin. There's many, many, many studies about it. Then we have a liposomal oregano oil. It can be used as sort of an antibiotic, antibacterial, antifungal, many uses also. There are oregano oils out there, but it's hard to find one in a capsule. And sometimes I look and I don't see it out there. I'm not sure today if there is one out there, but...
So that's your antimicrobial.
True. And like Dennis just said, it doesn't break down in the stomach. Oregano can be harsh on you, and it doesn't taste that great either. So, and then we have a liposomal artemisinin, which is a big seller for us, used as an antiparasitic.
Okay.
All right. Mimosa pudica, same thing, antiparasitic. And
so that's for people who are dealing with Babesia as part of their journey.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we just came out with another artemisinin. We added a little bit of cinnamon. Clove, black walnut, and MCT oil, just to give a little extra kick to the original artemisinin, which is still available. We just came out with berberine, cinnamon, and MCT oil.
And what are folks using that for?
What would you say the best use of that is for?
Well, it's
Dennis?
a great anti-inflammatory. It's great for cardiovascular support.
Okay.
And it's also, I'm personally using it to help reduce weight.
All right.
So people that have been taking the Ozempics and things like that, and they don't want to stay on that stuff. When you come off of that stuff, a lot of times you have to use something else.
Yeah, and there are a lot of challenges with people who are using those drugs as well. I mean, the Ozempic face, the Ozempic butt. There are all kinds of challenges when you're losing fat in your face. And so again, I don't want to be critical of anyone using whatever their conscience calls it to use, but I think if you wanted to use a tool that was a natural tool, it's probably a better first step, right? We're always concerned about folks using something before they exhaust all of their herbal options.
I just had a doctor say, I'm sorry, Dennis. I just had a doctor say they were using it as a biofilm buster. They just came up to us at our booth, earlier today, and that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Okay, well, and I guess there'll be some research, some use in clinical settings, but we certainly don't want to go to heroic tools when we have herbal tools first, right? And I think that's wonderful.
One thing I do want to bring up, we have like 3 antiparasitics in here, and I want the public to know parasites change. They don't stay just because you have a type of parasite doesn't mean it's not going to change, and the medication you're taking to get rid of that parasite is going to be working indefinitely. They change. So I want to say mutate, but I don't think that's the right word.
All right. Well, so are the 3 to be used hand in glove after you use one and it's no longer effective, then you pivot over to the other, and that's why you have the different formulations, or are they used for particular types of parasites?
You change them up.
Okay.
You change them up. So, like, for example, if you're using the artemisinin, I would be using that for a week or two, or actually a couple of weeks, probably 3 or 4 days a week, and then I'd change over to the cinnamon, clove, and oregano. And then after that, I would go to the black walnut formulation.
Okay, so you're pulsing these different tools to help your body overcome the challenges that the parasites are creating, and so the parasites are not adjusting to the different formulations.
You can.
One other thing, on the curcumin, people should know that curcumin can thin your blood.
Okay.
So if you're on blood thinners, use caution.
And certainly speak with your practitioner.
Yeah, it definitely. But the curcumin works great. It really works well.
Yeah, and is that an Indian herb?
Yeah, and by the way, originally when the curcumin was given its orange color, it was, I forget what medication they were using, but it used to deliver lead. So one of the things you got to screen for, especially with the curcumins, all of these medications, make sure that you don't have a source of lead. I really want to stress that. Quality, everything that we produce is quality, it's assayed. You're getting a good product.
But Dennis, one of the things we do at this podcast is we try to offer shortcuts to folks, right? And that's why branding is important, and working with a brand is important, because it's a shortcut for safety, right? And folks understand that, and that's why it's important for us to have these kinds of conversations with folks like you who are producing this, so that they know they're working with a reputable brand, and they know that they can have that shortcut, so they're not worrying about sourcing it themselves, testing it themselves, and doing those kinds of things. So Michael, I don't think we finished your entire line, right? So what else do you have?
So one of the most important things that I can bring to people's attention is our cinnamon, clove, and oregano product.
All right. And what is that used for?
So according to some of the doctors that I speak to that are using it, they're using it for biofilm and Lyme persisters. It's a part of their protocol. And as I said earlier, this is a part of Dr. Horowitz's protocol, and involved in a study that he did and an upcoming study that he's doing. A matter of fact, he just asked us a few minutes ago at the show to if we wanted to be a part of his summit coming up in April of next year. He sort of suggested to us, hey, you should be a part of that summit because we're going to talk about your product. So we sell an enormous amount of that, and so I would say that's our top seller. And then the other thing I didn't talk about is a brand new product to us is it's called Wisobax.
Okay, what is that?
Wisobax.
Okay.
It's a derivative of witch hazel, and it's a topical spray. In the compounding lab, they use it as a nasal spray to help kill marcons for people suffering with mold illness. But we also developed a cream or a lotion, if you will, to help people with actinomyces, which is if you will, a mold on the exterior of the skin, a pathogen.
It's actually a bacteria.
A bacteria, and so. But we wanted to bring this to market that probably could be useful for that, albeit the compounded version in this may be a little different. But the general skin health, and astringent for wound healing. They were using it in hospitals to help people with decubitus ulcers and for diabetics with the sores that develop and whatnot. So. And that's pretty much our lineup.
So, Dennis, what about tick bites? Somebody suffers a tick bite, and we have a protocol at Tick Boot Camp where we teach people how to clean the area where the tick bite would take place. And there's some research that suggests that if you were to use a antibiotic gel, that would reduce the likelihood of Lyme disease, right? So we recommend that after the tick bite, you remove the tick, you'll clean it with iodine, and you'll clean it with alcohol, and then following it up with either a sucking salve or some tool, and then of course cleaning the area or I should say, treating the area with an antibiotic gel. Talk to us about how this product might be something folks would consider after removing a tick.
Well, so first of all, this has antifungal activity.
Okay.
It has antibacterial activity.
Okay.
And it also has quorum sensing inhibition.
What is that?
So quorum sensing is, the way I explain it is, bacteria need to communicate in order to form a mass.
Okay.
And if you keep the mass low, they can't really cause damage. So it's communication. So we are interfering with the ability of the bacteria to communicate to each other to form a colony. And if we inhibit that colony, we're going to inhibit the infection. Really, really key. So it's basically once you get them on the run, keep them on the run. So you whatever antibiotic cleanup that you did, putting this stuff on there just helps reassure that it's not going to come back, because it doesn't take much. You don't need much at all left over in order for the problem to come back.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate you joining us here at the ILADS Conference and sharing with the folks in our community the various products that you're offering. And Michael, can you just one more time give your website to folks so they can go onto your site and learn about the various educational information you have available and how they can seek to purchase the various products you're offering?
Yeah, it's doctorinspiredformulations.com, and you can order directly on there. Wholesale accounts are available, as well as a patient, so the general public can order. I just want to stress again that our products are quality is of the utmost importance to us. Our products are manufactured in the United States in CGMP registered facilities. All the vendors we work with have to have an FDA registration. On a lot of herbals and supplements, you can buy them from other countries and different places in the world without that.
Right.
But for us, the answer is no. So, and by the way, we're a small company. When you call or you go on that website, fill out an application, inquire, all that information comes to me. So there's no red tape to go through. You're going to deal with me, and I get back to everybody quickly.
Right,
so.
and we know who to hold accountable if we're not happy with
Absolutely.
the product. No, of course, I'm sure our folks will be very happy with that.
Testing occurs testing of each ingredient happens before the product is incorporated or made, and they're tested afterwards also. So we're trying to make sure that everything is always high quality.
Thank you. One of the things we always do at the end of our podcast is thank those of you who are making it a profession to serve people in the Lyme community. So thank you very much for not only joining us on this podcast, but for turning the importance of sourcing and providing healthy treatment options for people in the Lyme disease community. So thank you.
It's our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. It was nice.
Really nice meeting you.